Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Wednesday, October 11th. I'm Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, and we're taking a look at the late pick four, including the J.P. Morgan Jessman. And the late pick four, Mr. Goodman gave you on Friday and on Sunday, so congratulations, sir.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened on Saturday. I guess I just took a break. But the Friday pick four actually paid, I had it twice when on my own tickets, so I paid almost over $900, so it's $450 for 50 cents. And then on Sunday, it paid around $250. So it was, we held together on Sunday. It was a terrible weather day. I guess we got 3 inches of rain, so we'd take everything off the turf. But the forum held together, and our stakes races kind of held together. So it was, all in all, a good opening weekend for Keeneland.
Let's jump into the J.P. Morgan Jessman on the turf for 2-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. The duplicate to the stake for the boys on Sunday that got washed off the turf, the Bourbon. Hopefully this one will stay on. I think that it will. And it's a nice full field as we usually get in these 2-year-old turf stakes. Who did you land on?
Well, when I did my picks for the Keeneland Select website or the Keeneland website for our Keeneland Select picks, I actually missed Rushing Fall. I don't know how I missed that horse, so I got to go back and fix that one because it appears to me that that she is just that run was so impressive at Belmont and came from way out of it. Got an 85 by her. Castellano rides back, and Daddy's a Legend ran behind her, and he's running in another race a little bit later in this card. So I think Rushing Fall is probably going to be the favorite with Castellano and Brown. I think other horses in here. The horse I actually picked on the website was a horse called Mentality, the 10 for Wesley Ward. I thought that she had been running against good horses. Orbelution's a really nice filly that she got beat at Saratoga, and she was right there at the top of the stretch, just folded a little bit. First time in a mile and 16, so I think this is going to be good for her, second time stretching out. The other horses I like, Sugar Queen, just because of Velasquez and Pletcher, and Miss Momentum, the 4. I put back in there. I thought that she took a big step up on the turf last time at Churchill, breaking her maiden by 2 over a decent field. And when you look at the running line, it says swung 6 wide, full of run. So she had to go outside and pass probably 5 or 6 horses and won by 2. Very impressive. That's their second time on turf, actually. Her 2 best races on the turf have come at Churchill and Saratoga. They're putting her back on turf, and she seems to be on her game for Mark Casse. So Rushing Fall is my top pick for 2, but I would use Mentality, the 10, Miss Momentum, the 4, and Sugar Queen, the 11 horse with Pletcher.
It's tough races. These type always are, I think, and I could direct folks to it's the Keeneland YouTube channel, or if you follow at Keeneland Racing or maybe at Keeneland Select on Twitter. I do some trainer interviews before these stakes races, and I've got interviews with Wesley Ward talking about Mentality, with Arnaud Delacour talking about his filly in here, and then I've got an interview with Rusty Arnold where he's talking about Romantic Vision for the Spinster, but he also, at the end of the interview, talked about the horse I'm going to pick in here, Cash Out. And it's really based on what Rusty said. It was clear he's really high on this filly. So I took a closer look at her than I might have otherwise with just moderate speed figures, but she had a nice win last time. Out of that race, came back with a bullet work at Keeneland, and I went back and looked at her first race, and as a first-time starter, and it wasn't like it was Chad Brown or Pletcher, she took a good bit of money in her debut out at Saratoga. I think she was like 9-1. So I think Cash Out is going to have a shot to run big in here, and even if she could run second, could be a big price. The ones you mentioned, I think, are certainly the ones would have been at the top of my list if I hadn't have been pulled to Cash Out. Rushing Fall, Mentality, Miss Momentum. I'm going to add one more, the 12, the Way Jam for Graham Motion. So those 4 trainers, it's hard to get past one of those horses winning this, but I'm going to try and get it done with Cash Out, or at least to maybe run second and fill out a nice exacta. So number 6, Cash Out in the Jessman. This will definitely be a spread race as we get to the pick 4, which starts in the 5th race with a maiden turf race and a full field. And I'm going to take the 2 Cassie horses in here. I've gone back and forth between Bridled Temper and American Halo, and it's kind of a toss-up for me. My first instinct was Bridled Temper because of a good second on yielding ground at Kentucky Downs, and it's Cassie and Le Peru. But I think I may actually, for a win pick, go to American Halo, and that's because she comes out of that cash out race down at Kentucky Downs. And if cash out turns out to be as good as I think, then that makes American Halo look a little better. So I'm going to have those two Cassies. Then in the second leg, I'm going to have Benefactor and Speedmeister and CZ Rocket. CZ Rocket's got that big first out buyer that'll draw a lot of money. But a lot of times when horses have a big first out, when they go against more experienced horses, I think you can get a good price and get them beat sometimes. And so I think Benefactor and Speedmeister, kind of a toss-up for me between those two. So I'll just take them both along with CZ Rocket. I'm going to take all 5 horses that I mentioned in the Jessamine, Cash Out, Rushing Fall, Miss Momentum, Mentality, and the Way Jam. And then I'm going 4 deep in the last leg. Chilling Secret, if she draws in from the 13 I want to have. Silver Cowboy on the class drop. Neapolitan, a first-time starter, but Eddie Keneally wins 23% and when debuting at maiden claiming level. And then I'm also going to use a Surprise Page, who's dropping out of straight maiden races. How about you?
Well, we're a little bit different in the pick 4 horse. You got that inside information with all these trainer interviews, so you ought to do better than I do. So, in the first race, I went 4 deep here. Daddy is a Legend is the horse I mentioned before when we talked about Rushing Fall in the feature, and this is a filly who ran right behind that filly. So if Daddy is a Legend runs big here, you might take a closer look at Rushing Fall. So this will give you an idea of what the stakes race might be like. So I'm going to use Daddy is a Legend as my top pick, the 7. Use Classy Act, the 4 for Brett Calhoun, second time out. Also going to use Tis BBN. I can't believe that Tom Leach would not pick a horse named after Big Blue Nation, but I guess he just
don't pick on names.
Yeah, John Dyer has a few horses, and he does well every once in a while. This horse jumped up at Indiana last time. I love Declan Cannon as a jockey, and people overlook Indiana horses. This horse is 30 to 1 on the morning line. It would not surprise me if she ran big in here. So I'm going to use her, and then I'm going to use one of the Cassie horses that you mentioned, Bridal Temper, the 12. So 2, 4, 7, 12 in the first leg of the pick 4. Then I'm going to use 1, 8. I'm going to use CZ Rocket with the big buyer figure first out. Lescano, and my backup on him is Speedmeister, the 8 for Mark Cassie, who I think could run well here. Excuse me, going turf to dirt for Le Peru. Always got to keep him in there. That Kentucky Downs race, I think, has got to get him in good shape for this. And he's shown good speed on the dirt in the past with a 4.5 length win at breaking his maiden here at Keeneland back in the fall of 16. So I'm going to go 1-8 there. Let me use the 4 I talked about in the Jessamine with the 2, 4, 10, 11. Rushing Fall, Miss Momentum, Mentality, Sugar Queen. I could use Cash Out in there after listening to Tom. And in the last race, I'm going to go 4, Silver Cowboy, the 8, Neapolitan, who's my top pick, first-time starter for Keneally, the 10 horse Crenshaw, and the 12 Worthy, and then with a star by the 13, if Chilling Secret gets in, may even be the favorite. So we'll 4 deep there, 5 deep if the 13 draws in. So 2, 4, 7, 12 with 1, 8 with 2, 4, 10, 11 with 4, 8, 10, 12 is a $64 ticket. If you add the 13 to it, it becomes an $80 ticket.
It is a typically tough card. I mean, these are big fields we're looking at here, and without any clear standouts. So good luck with your selections on the Wednesday card at Keeneland. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and this is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.